Hey Tamers, and welcome to the White Staples video. Last one of the series, finally. This one is not going to be that long because there's only 26 so far. These are, in my opinion, of course, there could be more, there could be less. Let's get into it. Right off the bat, we got BT6 Sister Mount Blanc. All turns, if you have a Digimon with Huckmon in its name or Royal Knight, all of your Digimon with Sistermon gain blocker. The reason why I think this is a staple card is because it works for all Royal Knights, not just specifically for Jesmon or Huckmon, right? You can use this for Galamon, Exomon, Craniumon, all the Nightmons, all the Royal Knights that are out there. On play, trigger, draw one. Why would you not want to draw? Now, up next, we got Bokomon. On play, reveal the top 5 cards of your deck. Add 1 card with Hybrid or 10 Warriors and its traits, and 1 Tamer card among them to your hand. So, allowing you to search and getting 2 cards, which includes Hybrid, of course. Bokomon does help those hybrid decks. Now, what I love here is that your turn once per turn, when one of your Tamers Digivolves, gain 2 memory. Although it is once per turn, if you're at 0 and you need to attack one more time, you have Bokomon on the field, you just Digivolve into a hybrid for free because of Bokomon's effect, and now you can actually end game. Now we got Sister Mount Blanc from starter deck 12. This one, by trashing 1 card in your hand, you draw 2. All turns, if you have a Digimon with Huckmon or Royal Knight in its traits, this Digimon gains Decoy. Now you get to draw 2 by trashing 1, so if you need certain cards in your trash, that helps you. You draw 2. Then you have Decoy, so if it's going to get Gaia Force, bam, now you got Decoy and Protect It. Now we got Sister Mount Ciel from BT6. All of your Digimon with Huckmon and Royal Knights gain 2000 DP all turns. Not just your turn, but all turns. That's insane. On play, gain 1 memory. So you're going to see this a lot in these Royal Knight decks. Again, because it works with all Royal Knights. Now we got Sister Mount Ciel from starter deck 12. Reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Add 1 card with Huckmon in its name or Royal Knight among them to your hand. Trash the rest. All turns, all of your Digimon with Huckmon in their names and Royal Knights gain Reboot. So just giving your Digimon Reboot is insane, right? So an example would be if you are running a Galamon deck. You know, Galamon has 11,000 DP, at least the BT2 one. I think it's BT2. He has 11,000 DP. You can get him to get DP on your turn, but then on your opponent's turn, he's going back to 11,000. Now with this Reboot, now he goes back and he can't get, attacked as long as it's not by an effect that allows it to get attacked or, Gaia Force. Up next, we got the most versatile DNA Digimon in the game so far, allowing to DNA from 2 level 4 regardless of color. When Digivolving, you can place 1 level 5 or lower Digimon card from your trash under this Digimon as its bottom Digivolution card. Then up to 4 of your opponent's Digimon get minus 1000 DP for each of this Digimon's color until the end of your opponent's next turn. Your turn, this Digimon is treated as also having the colors of its Digivolution cards. While this Digimon has 4 or more, it gets 4000 DP. Now granted, that effect isn't going to come up as often, but a lot of dual color cards are coming out now and it's going to get there. So being able to DNA for free, popping off his 1 Digivolving effect, adding inherits that you might want to your Mega, or just doing a DP decrease and then Digivolving and then being able to swing into something that you weren't able to swing before. So Chimeraman is insane. Omnimon X Antibody from BT10. When a Digimon with X Antibody and its Digivolution cards will Digivolve into this card, reduce the Digivolution cost by 2, or Digivolve from 3 for Omnimon. When Digivolving, return all of your opponent's Digimon with the highest level to the bottom of their owner's deck in any order. When Digivolving and when attacking, once per turn, by placing 1 X Antibody or a level 6 card from this Digimon's Digivolution cards at the bottom of its owner's deck, reveal all of your opponent's security cards and trash 1 of them, place the rest in your opponent's security stack face down, then your opponent shuffles it. Insane. The effect is crazy because, for example, I always think of Exomon, right? Because you have Evade. It bypasses that. You just, get rid of it. You're not deleting it, so to say. You're just removing it from the field. And then being able to trash from your opponent's security stack. Now we got Millenniumon. I did have this in my purple staples. I don't know why. I think because I was looking at you could Digivolve from a purple. But I did talk about this one. Just being able to return one of your opponent's Digimon to the bottom of its owner's deck. Kind of the same thing as Omnimon we just talked about. But here, he kind of has protection. So as long as you have sources underneath him and he gets deleted, he's able to come back. So it's pretty awesome. Omnimon Ultra S. One Digivolving triggered the Digivolve 1 on all of your opponent's Digimons. When attacking, you may make this Digimon unblockable for the turn by returning one of its level 6 Digivolution cards into his hand. So you don't see as much gameplay with this now, although you can. Just being able to Digivolve all of your opponent's board by one, even by one, that does a lot, and that can turn the tide of the battle. And then of course just being able to make it unblockable. So if you do want to kind of do a little loop, right, you're able to, let's say you Digivolve on top of BT1 War Greymon, you attack with the BT1 War Greymon or whatever, you Digivolve into the Ultra S, Digivolve, and then next turn when you do attack, you return that War Greymon back into your hand, and now allowing you to Digivolve back into it in another stack. So Ultra S overall is a pretty good card, just the downside is that Evo by 6. Up next we got Chaosmon. Another downside is Digivolving by 6, however you kind of get Blitz, right? So you have Piercing, and then when you Digivolve, unsuspend this Digimon, then it can attack your opponent's Digimon. This effect allows you to attack unsuspended Digimon as well. Up next we got the other Chaosmon. This one is better, I want to say, just because you are able to decrease DP on a Digimon twice. So when Digivolving, activate the following effect twice. Whenever your opponent's Digimon gets minus 7,000 DP for the turn, on deletion gain 3 memory. So it kind of pays for himself in a way. In a way, he's a 3 cost instead of a 6 with that on deletion effect. Again, what's really good about this card is that essentially you could delete something with 14,000 DP, or you could split it up, right? You could delete a blocker and then you can do minus 7,000 on a Mega and then swing into that Mega if you do have the memory for it. Up next, probably my overabused card that I use in a lot of my decks is this Omnimon BT5. One of the best cards, if not the best level 7 white card that we have yet. You get Blitz, right? You also unsuspend, and you also have protection, right? So all turns, if an opponent's effect would delete this Digimon or return it to its owner's hand or deck, you may prevent it from leaving play by trashing a level 6 Digimon card in its sources. So many matchups where I just won using this card, kind of hybrid free game, right? So you could also hybrid, and then if you're at 0, this Omnimon has Blitz, so now you could kind of hybrid slash Omni for game in this one. It's insane. Up next we got Omnimon's War from BT5. There used to be a loop deck going around with this card and Lilithmon, right? So I'll talk about it. So when Digivolving, trash top 3 cards of your deck. Then you may play up to 2 black or purple cards with the play cost of 8 or less from your trash without paying for the cost. So that was part 1 of the loop, right? When attacking, you may return 1 level 6 Digimon card in this Digimon's Digivolution cards to its owner's hand to delete one of your opponent's unsuspended Digimon with a play cost of 12 or less. So now you got removal, and you get to recycle your level 6. So here was a loop. You had the DNA Digivolution option card that I can't remember right now. It cost 0. It's banned now. Good reason. And you would Digivolve, play 2 ultimates, and then you would Digivolve into Lilithmon. So they would be using Lilithmon. Lilithmon had an on Digivolution effect when you would return option cards from your trash back to your hand. And therefore, now you would trigger that same option card and Digivolve for free. Anyway, let's talk about why he is a staple card now, right? Not before. Being able to trash, so it's good for those purple decks that need cards to get trashed. And then you can play potentially 2 ultimates, or you can play 2 champions, and then you can DNA into, for example, Chimeramon, and then you can swing with that Chimeramon, because when you DNA, they do not have summoning sickness. It's crazy. And then, of course, just being able to return a level 6 and delete something at the same time is insane. So he is worth that 6 cost, right? But just the downside is that more than likely your turn is going to end. Now we got Omnimon X Antibody. Your Digimon with Omnimon in its name can Digivolve into this card from your hand for a memory cost of 3, ignoring its card's Digivolution requirement. When attacking, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with DP less than or equal to this Digimon's DP, 15,000 DP. The only one I can think of that it can't delete is Alphamon with 16,000, right? Or in Pyodramon, I think it's 16,000 as well. Opponent's turn. When your opponent's Digimon attacks, you may trash 2 of this Digimon's Digivolution cards to end the attack. So you're not negating the attack. I guess in a way it's negating it, but it just doesn't happen. And that's insane for one part. and then just attacking and deleting something when you attack is it's crazy. Mind you, it says this Digimon's DP, right? So if you had sources that increase the DP, so for example, you have a source that gives it 1000 DP on your turn when you attack or whatever. Now he's at 16, so now you could delete something with 16,000 DP or less. So what makes this card absolutely fantastic and a staple is just being able to negate your opponent's attacks just by trashing 2 cards. And it's not once per turn, so if they have 3 attacks and you have enough sources, you can go ahead and negate those 3 attacks. Up next, Omnimon Zord Defeat. We are finally getting reprints of this. This card was stupid expensive. So it plays from the security when it gets hit. When Digivolving, delete one of your opponent's tamers. That's what made this card beautiful, is because we didn't have many cards to delete tamers, and it's an evil cost of 3. The other thing here was on deletion, delete one of your opponent's Digimon. So really good. I used this in my first D-Brigade decklist video that I have. I used Zord Defeat. It was kind of more of a security deck, and I don't think this card's going anywhere. You've seen less play of Zord now because of Death X, but Zord is always an option, and I don't think he's going anywhere for sure. Moving on, we got Susanoo-man. Now, I know he is a 7 cost, but he is worth it. You may Digivolve this card from your hand onto one of your tamers, as if the tamer is a level 6 Digimon, by placing 10 tamer cards and or cards with hybrid in their traits from your hand or trash at the bottom of your deck in any order. It has security attack +2 built in. So when you attack, you're just removing 3 cards. Not removing, but you're getting rid of 3 cards. And when Digivolving, delete one of your opponent's Digimon. Now, you don't see much play, like I said, because it's a 7 cost. But being able to delete a Digimon just from Digivolving is massive. The downside of this card, besides it having its 7 cost for Evo, is that it doesn't have protection. So just be mindful of that. Up next, we got Kelomon, a level-less card. This card is good, so although you can't attack, if you have Terriermon, Renamon, or Guilmon in play, you reduce it by 2, so it would cost 1. So it would cost 1. Even then, it costs 3, but it pays for itself. So when one of your Digimon Digivolves, you may suspend this Digimon to gain 1 memory and draw 1. And have one of your Digimon get 3000 DP for the turn. What I love about this card is it doesn't restrict it to Terriermon, Renamon, Impmon, or Guilmon, right? When they Digivolve, it just says when one of your Digimon Digivolves. That can be any Digimon, so long as they Digivolve. And then you're gaining a memory, drawing 1. So now you're drawing 2, 1 from Digivolving, and then from this card. And then you can give it 3000 DP for the turn. Up next, moving on to option cards. This one you need 3-4 playsets of, because there's just so many X Antibody decks out there, right? You have Metal Garurumon, you have Wargreymon X, you have Black Wargreymon X, you have Alphamon, and all these X Antibody decks that are coming out. Point is, they're not going anywhere anytime soon. And for a lot of those Digimon's effects, they trigger when you have this card in their sources. So let's get into it. It's a 0 cost. While you have a Digimon in play, you may use this card without meeting its color requirement. Pretty good. Security, gain 1 memory and add this card to its owner's hand. Main, place this card under one of your Digimon without X Antibody in its Digivolution cards as its bottom Digivolution card. Let me talk about this for a second. It says one of your Digimon without X Antibody, not X Antibody in its traits. So there was confusion in the beginning where, okay, well, how do I play it if, he has X Antibody? What it means is the actual card itself. Right, so in close brackets, X Antibody. It doesn't say X Antibody in its traits, so remember that. The inherit here is all turns, effects can't trash X Antibody in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, which is pretty cool, right? You don't want to lose this X Antibody when you need it to trigger all the effects. Then, when attacking, this Digimon can Digivolve into a Digimon card with X Antibody in its traits in your hand for its Digivolution cost, and that's what I was talking about, is if it says in its traits or just X Antibody, so be really careful. It's insane being able to swing with the level 6, and then you can Digivolve into its counter X Antibody level 6, and you trigger their when attacking or effects. Yeah, there's whole combos, obviously. This card is a must-have. Up next, another card that is a must-have for me is this win rate 60%. So if you have a tamer in play, you may use this option card without meeting its color requirements. Main, the next time one of your Digimon digivolves this turn, you may trash one Digimon card in your hand of the same color as the digivolving Digimon to reduce the memory cost of the Digivolution by 4. That's a lot of D. I used this when I made a Titamon deck. I had the Skull Greymon that we talked about in the purple staples video. So I would use win rate. I would trash that Skull Greymon, and I would give that Digimon that's going to digivolve retaliation from that Skull Greymon. And since they got trashed, now I'm still triggering win rate, and I will digivolve into that Titamon or any Mega that I digivolved into for 0 instead of 4. Essentially, you're digivolving for 2 because you're paying for the 2 cost. So there's so many combos that you can do, and it's just amazing because it costs 2 instead of paying 4. So it keeps your turn going. Up next, Emergency Program Shutdown. This card is very good. However, the downside is that you need to have a white card in play in order to activate this, right? Anyway, your opponent can't use option cards until the end of their next turn. There were certain matchups where I did use this, and it prevented my opponents from using Ice Wall. Therefore, I was able to win. In the security, when it hits, your opponent can't use option cards this turn. Then add this card to its owner's hand. So overall, it's pretty good. You don't see much play because, like I said, you need a white card in play to play it. Moving on to the Tamers, we got Takumi. This one is from Cyber Sleuth. When one of your Digimon digivolves, you may suspend this Tamer to trigger draw 1. So right off the bat, you're getting more draw. All turns, all level 3 Digimon gain 1 attacking, lose 1 memory. So this card was really good against Rookie Rush decks, and even D-Brigade now would be pretty good against it. So a good Tamer that slows down your opponent. You don't see much play on it, but he's definitely usable for sure. Up next, we got Nokia, staple for Agumon and Gabumon decks. On play, you can play one Agumon or Gabumon, and their on plays do trigger. Main, when digivolving one of your Digimon into a Digimon card with Garurumon, Omnimon, or Greymon in its name, you may suspend this Tamer to reduce the memory cost by 1. So a lot of those War Greymons that cost 4 get reduced to 3. Up next, we got Digimon Emperor. All turns, when one of your opponent's level 5 or lower Digimon is deleted, you may suspend this Tamer to draw 1. Opponent's turn, when one of your opponent's level 3 Digimon is moved from the breeding area to the battle area, gain 2 memory. And I think that's why this card can be a staple, not necessarily for the first one, all turns, but this one when they move up a level 3, especially if they're playing a Rookie Rush deck or a D-Brigade, where they're digivolving to Commandramons and then they're going to move up. More than likely, they're just going to have rookies because they're limited on their champions, and they move it up, you're going to gain 2 memory. Up next, we got Cool Boy, another staple card for X-Antibody decks. On play, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Add 1 Digimon card with X-Antibody in its traits, and 1 option card with X-Antibody in its traits among them to your hand. Place the rest at the bottom of the deck in any order. Your turn, when one of your Digimon digivolves into a same level Digimon with X-Antibody in its traits, you may suspend this Tamer to gain 1 memory and draw. So it's insane because usually, let's say I have a Greymon and I'm digivolving into Greymon X Antibody level 4. You suspend this Cool Boy, you get a memory. So not only did you digivolve for free, but now you're gaining a memory by suspending Cool Boy, and now you're drawing 2 cards for digivolving and then for the Cool Boy. Insane. Cool Boy keeps your turns going, and then obviously it just helps you go through your decks and get the pieces really, really quick. Last but not least, we got Analog Youth or Analog Boy, whatever you want to call him. On play, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 Digimon card among them to your hand, trash the remaining cards. All turns, when one of your level 5 or higher Digimon with Digivolution cards is deleted, you may suspend this Tamer. If you do, gain 1 memory and hatch 1 Digi-Egg card into an empty space in your breeding area. This Analog Boy or Youth is used a lot with purple decks or any decks that require you to get pieces from your deck and build your trash or put certain pieces in your trash. It is a very good card to run in those particular decks. All the staples that you could possibly get up till now. Obviously, there'll be more in the future once we have more sets, and I will update those, so make sure you are subscribed. So when those do come, you know which cards you need to get. And I will see you guys in BT11.